and um, yeah. So then I request Sister Monica if you can pray for us.
धन्यवाद 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 प्रभु, धन्यवाद करते हैं सुंदर समय के लिए, धन्यवाद करते हैं राजा, सुबह से लेकर अभी तक संभाल के रखा, आने जाने उठने बैठने खाने पीने सोच विचार में हम सबके साथ रहे, इसलिए धन्यवाद करती हूँ। इस क्लास के लिए धन्यवाद करती हूँ राजा। टीचर के लिए प्रार्थना करती हूँ, अपने पवित्र आत्मा की शक्ति से भर उनको, आपके वचन से हमें सिखाने पाए प्रभु। जो टॉपिक हमें करा रहे अच्छे से समझाने के लिए उनको ताकत बुद्धि और ज्ञान से भरने के लिए प्रार्थना करती हूँ राजा। सभी क्लासमेट्स के लिए प्रार्थना करती हूँ राजा। कोई भी निराशा हो के दुख हो के आलसी होकर घर पे ना बैठने पाए, हर किसी को मन देने के लिए प्रभु, सही नेटवर्क देने के लिए, इस क्लास में ज्वाइन करने के लिए, सबको मदद करने के लिए मैं प्रार्थना करती हूँ राजा। जो भी कुछ हम पढ़ते हैं, पढ़कर समझकर अच्छे से सीख कर ग्रहण करके अपनी जिंदगियों में उतार कर एक नमनदार जीवन हम सबको व्यतीत करने में मदद करने के लिए प्रार्थना करती हूँ राजा। जो भी हम आपके वचन से सीखते हैं प्रभु, हमारे लिए और दूसरों के लिए अनुग्रह का कारण बनने के लिए हमें मदद करने के लिए प्रार्थना करती हूँ राजा। सारा समय आपके चरणों में समर्पित करती हूँ राजा। अभी तक संभाला, आगे भी संभालना, सभी कमी घटियों को माफ कर देना, सब कुछ मेरे लिए जान दिया वो यीशु मसीह की मीठे पवित्र नाम से मांगती हूँ। छोटी सी दुआ सुन और कबूल कर मेरे पिता, आमीन।
Amen. Yeah, so we have been looking at the stages or the process of counseling. And then we said, firstly, we need some prerequisites. The prerequisites such as a counseling room in which there is semi-private environment. And then we said the room must be sufficient and well ventilated. And then the seating arrangement must be like the counselor must sit straight, little lean forward with an open gesture, and then eye contact must be there. It should be a relaxed kind of sitting. And then the greeting skill and social skill all must be used. Initially, you make the client feel at home by engaging into a general conversation whereby the client is feeling at home, and then we get into counseling. Those are the things we said. This picture shows a sitting position. Then the introductory phase in which we listen to the client. So listen to words, listen to feelings, and avoid partial listening. Some people listen with prejudice. Some people don't listen everything. But what we are expected to do is to listen to two things. Number one, listen to words and listen to feelings. So in that understanding of body language helps us in that. If the client doesn't feel good, that will be also found from the tone of the client, the body language of the client, etc. And we can assume a lot of things by observing what happens when the client speaks. Like today, I had a client in my counseling center, and the mother and the child and the father. And the father said everything that he had to say, and then said the mother and child will come to you. And then he waited outside, and the mother and child came. When the child is 17 years old, but anything that I asked to the boy, the mother is giving reply. And again I asked to the boy, and the boy looks up to the mother, and mother speaks. And then I said, why don't you allow your boy to speak? Then mother was saying, you speak, you tell. And I found a thorough issue with the self-confidence of the son. He's not even able to answer to me every time. Again, the mask is a hiding place for him, and he is very comfortable hiding himself, and he finds it so embarrassing to take out the mask and all. So, what is indicated is that there is a symbiotic relationship. Symbiotic relationship is in which the mother is attached so much to the boy that she is she has ended up in doing everything for the son. And actually what happened is the son did not grow up emotionally. He grew up physically, but he could not grow up emotionally well. So therefore, the coaching had to be given to the parents on certain steps to help the baby, the son. In one more year, he will be an adult. So behavior. So, I mean, observing certain things helps us. Observing certain things helps us to understand people well. So listen to words and listen to feelings is what we have discussed. In the communication wheel, speaking and listening. See, listening as the biggest part in the communication wheel. Now, here is a feeling chart. As a counselor, we must have a very good collection of feeling words with us. In this feeling chart, you find a lot of feelings. Feeling stress, feeling sad, feeling angry, jealousy, bitter, sorry, guilty, confused, worried, annoyed, frustrated, tensed, anxious, upset, hopeless, helpless, sorrowful, depressed, bad, agitated, fearful, panic, insecure, uncomfortable, threatened, troubled. On the other hand, good feelings such as happy, excited, overjoyed, comfortable, satisfied, fulfilled, positive, accepted, confident, loved, cheerful, glad. All those are feelings. So when we have a good stock of feeling words, we will be able to understand those better. And then, as we were discussing earlier regarding empathy, empathy is not only that you are able to observe the feeling of the client, but also that you are able to speak to the client, speak it back to the client, say it back to the client as well. Therefore, the client understands that the counselor is able to read my feelings. So that is a great comfort to the client. Next stage is exploring phase. Exploring phase in which we respond to the client. There are many types of responses. One is supportive response. Supportive response is you support the client, like saying it's okay, things will be good in the days to come. Everything will be all right. God will help you. That type of support you give to the client. We require this supportive response in such as crisis counseling. The occasions where crisis means the person is not able to tap into any resources the person has. So the person requires a lot of support. So sometimes we engage into supportive response, but not all the time. Another one is called interpretative response. Here you are interpreting what the client is saying. You might be feeling had grudge against that person, and that triggered that feeling of anger in you. Or maybe because that problem was not resolved, that every time whenever that person speaks, you felt irritated. So you are interpreting it. You are assigning causes to what the client feels. Interpretative response. We don't need it all the time, but sometimes whenever required, we give it. Probing response. Probing means you are asking question. Asking questions. Can you explain that a little more? So when that happens, question. Probing is question. Response. Evaluate. Passing judgment. That has to be avoided. But in rare occasions, you might use that as well. Like I remember a husband who was no in his talk. Like he had this extramarital affair and he was justifying that. And then saying that my wife doesn't have to be bothered about that, etc. That is very awkward. So how do you say that? Does it not make you a cruel husband that you expect your wife to adjust with this kind of thing from you, etc.? So sometimes in those kind of occasions, we may go with some evaluative response if it is required. Otherwise, most of the time, we don't use evaluative response. Next is advising, giving advice to the client, which we said earlier that we have to try to avoid. Advising is, I mean, that doesn't require any action also. So you hear anything. So there are many people give advice and you don't need to give advice. So advising is not appreciated by many people. So advice comes from our frame of reference, which sometimes might not work in the frame of reference of the client also. That's what we said earlier. Yeah, next is the best understanding, which is called understanding response. The best response is understanding response. In understanding response, what you do is you reflect what the client is saying and then what it feels to the client when the client is saying that. So you summarize these two and then give us advice. Sorry, understanding response. Like, can we try that? Is it okay? Like, I can become a client and then you can try giving me understanding response so that you know how to respond. Okay, now let me say this. Let me become a client to you. And let me say it like this. So, you know, my problem is actually I was running a business in North India. I have a textiles, and then during COVID times, two of my friends came and told me that we can start an exporting business and that will fetch a lot of profit. And I agreed. And then I was willing to invest, and I invested 1 crore, 1 CR. And then 1 year, they said it is going loose. I mean, we lost the money and then it is not going in profit. And then, so I believed them. And then I began to invest again and again, and they said that 1 crore that I invested is also lost. But last week I came to know that they were cheating me. Actually, it was running on profit. So they had 2 types of accounts, one to give me and one for both of them. They both agreed, and all the profit they took, but I ultimately lost the money. I think I'm always like this. Wherever I go, people cheat me. I don't know. I'm not a good person. Maybe that I don't deserve anything good in life. God doesn't love me. That's what I think. Can you try a response to me? Can you at least tell me the feeling that I have when I say this? What is a predominant feeling in my mind when I'm saying all this? Can you try?
Regret.
Regret. Yeah. And then
Failure.
feeling failure. Failure, is it a feeling? Okay. You feel failed. You feel regretful. Okay. You feel frustrated. You feel sad. All those might suit here, I think, because you were cheated by your friends. You feel upset because you were cheated by your friend. So here you are responding to both the elements. You are responding to feelings and content. You're responding to what I said, and also you're responding to how does it feel to me when I am saying it. Yeah. So let me just continue one more. Yeah, actually, yes, I feel so sad and regretful because I never thought these friends will behave like this and cheat me like this. On the top of that, I was at home, and then my brother was coming from US. When the partition took place at home, I did not take any money because my brother was studying at that time in USA. So I said, send that money to my brother, let him have a good future. So he got everything, and now he is a doctor working in a hospital, earning a lot of money in USA. So he came for vacation. I took him from the airport, and on the way I said, I have this problem, and then I have a debt of 1 CR. You have to help me. He did not respond anything. I reached home and I said it again, and he did not respond. Next day I was really angry. I went to him and said, why are you not giving me any reply? I was saying that I need 1 CR from you. So why are you not responding? So he got very angry at me. He said, if you went and did this and that and you lost your money, is it that I should compensate that? Then there was an argument, and then I said I did not take anything at the time. But I know you are not my brother. If it a brother, you will never value relationship on money basis, and I hate you. So many things he said. So I just left my home. I wanted to die, but maybe because I saw you bored, I came in here. I don't know why my brother is doing this to me. I was cheated, okay, but now it is my brother who is. How can a brother say this? When I said I'm in trouble, he's supposed to help me. Can you try a response? What am I feeling?
Rejected.
Rejected. Yeah, rejected or angry or yeah. So let's say this, make it into a full statement. You feel rejected from your brother that gives you a lot of tension, or you feel angry at your brother because he rejected you at the time when you wanted him. Anything could be the response. So hope you got the idea how to respond. So whenever we respond by giving understanding response. Next is solution phase. As you can see on the screen, this is to help the client understand where he is, to guide him or her to where he or she needs to be in his or her world. So the client need to be let me write this here. The client is here and the client need to be here. So the client is confused. The client is angry. The sad. The client, as we said, so many. But the client. So this is to help the client understand where he is in relation to where he need to be. He's in a big trouble. He is in a place where he finds it very difficult to survive. But actually, he must climb these. So this is what is expected. So here, we assess the client to understand where the client is in relation to where the client need to be in his or her world. Like I drew here, the client is guilt, frustrated, but the client need to be here. The client need to resolve this problem with his brother.
Sir, your
See
voice
the
is breaking
are you
a lot, like a lot.
okay? Okay. Is it still breaking? Is it still breaking? It is.
No, okay.
Now okay.
Now it's clear, sir.
Clear. Okay. Yeah, my internet connection fluctuates. That's why. So, oh, okay. Yeah, you saw my drawing earlier. It got disappeared when I came back. So anyway, helping the client to understand where the client is in relation to where he or she need to be. Like he is agonized, stressful, painful, etc. But he need to be resolving the problem with the brother, overcome the problem in that death, finding out solution. So this is where we are. So in solution phase, what we do is to, like I drew, we assess the person to understand what to be done, and also to see the possibility of getting out of this problem. So while this exploration phase in this exploration phase, we understood where the client is. Here, we are putting an objective, a goal is agreed upon between client and counselor. So in this case, your goal is to resolve the debt issue that you have. So what do you think you can do? Or in other words, we may ask the client, okay, so you are saying that those two partners cheated you. Okay, so what did you try to get your money back? What else are there to try? So we are helping the client to focus on that solution. Or the other problem, you got angry at your brother got angry at you. So the relationship between you and your brother is broken. So our objective is to restore the relationship between you and your brother. And the client says, yes, that's my objective. So how can you do that? What are some of the things that comes to your mind? Then the client says, maybe I can do this. Maybe this seems good, I can try that. Sometimes the client says, nothing comes to my mind, sir. I don't know. You tell me how to. In that situation, we say, see, like for example, like this. So like that, anything come to your mind? So even while we supply an example, we are promoting the person to think about it. So that's how a counseling happens. So we said introductory phase, the prerequisites are there, and then introductory phase, then there is exploratory phase. So shall we just try one more? I'll become a client again. Yeah. I'm a 15-year-old boy staying in a hostel, a school hostel. Yeah, so my problem is actually I have one intimate friend in my hostel. We are so close to each other that if my friend is not there, I don't feel like living in that hostel anymore. So sometimes because my friend is very not from a very rich family, I used to share to my parents. They will send me money and I used to help him with my money. But day for yesterday, he stopped talking to me. I went to his room and he said, don't come to my room. So in the dining hall yesterday in the morning, I said, what is the problem? Please tell me. He said, never come back to me to talk. So I did not eat anything yesterday in the lunch time, dinner time. So I'm so sad and I feel like quitting and going back. So today I called up my mother and said, I want to quit. I want to come back home. My mother said, what? So this friend is behaving like this. I cannot survive here. And my mother said, you idiot. You don't know how to interact with people. You go and talk to him. Otherwise, you go and talk to your warden. But I am afraid to speak to my warden. I don't know what to do. So what is the feeling I have? Any idea? You can respond. Yeah. When I say, I can't go to my warden, see, my mother is not supporting me. I can't survive like this. So what is happening? What is the feeling I have? Anybody?
Feeling of
He's tense.
and not confident you are in himself.
Feeling of tension, feeling of less confidence. Okay.
Confusion.
Yeah.
Confusion. He's
Confusion.
worried.
Exactly.
And upset now. He's upset.
Upset. Yeah. So when you respond to me, this is the way you respond. You feel confused, you feel upset, you feel helpless, etc. Whatever comes to your mind, because your friend is doing this to you. You don't know why he's doing this. And then you go on reflecting back to my feelings. And then when I speak to you, I may even cry. You know, crying in counseling is understood to be something good. That is a ventilation of feeling. After that, sufficient time you spend in exploration, then what you can do is to say to the client, so therefore your goal is solution phase. Therefore, your goal is to resolve the problem with your friend. You're trying that, but you are unable to. So can we put it as an objective here, goal here? The client said, yes, we can do that. So after you fix it as a goal, you ask the client, so what do you think you can do to achieve this goal? The client says, maybe I can take the support of a close friend of mine who can talk to him, find out what went wrong and come and tell me so that I can correct if at all anything is required to be corrected or apologize. Oh, that's very good. Like that, anything else comes to your mind? Yeah, maybe I can sit for some time and spend time in prayer because I need a lot of God's grace to face this situation. Oh, that's very good. Anything else? Maybe I can also try speaking to his parents because I'm so close to them and say that, my dear friend, stop talking to me. Can you find out what is that so that if there is anything wrong from me, I can apologize. And then if they can assist me in doing that, that will be great. Okay, out of these three things you said, which one are you going to start with? And he says, maybe I can ask my another close friend to intervene and talk to him and let me know. And then with his mediation, I can try to resolve. You say, that's wonderful. Go ahead and do that. So shall we meet again after 1 week to see what happened? That is follow-up. After 1 week, that is also a very good thing in counseling. Follow-up time, if it is not there, clients might try certain things received as insight from counseling and they fail, and then that's the end of their counseling intervention. But when we have a follow-up, even if this person fails in that step, the person is coming back to you and saying that I tried getting the help of my close friend, but he is not willing to do. Then we discuss on, is there anything else we can do? The next step that you said was this. So what about that? Assisting the client to try further steps. Yeah. So that's how we do counseling. Introductory phase, exploratory phase, solution phase, like that. And then one more thing, we have several occasions of counseling. Like, let's say, major areas of counseling today. Major areas of counseling today. Sexual abuse. It creates nightmare, guilt and shame, anger, hatred, depression, fearfulness, anxiety. I'm saying it as a foremost important thing because this is atrocities are on a rampage. They may have all these feelings. We may have to minister to these feelings and assist them out from this. Chalk out certain strategies to overcome this as well. Claim the past. Give forgiveness. Determined to recover. Clean self-confidence. All those are the requirements. You claim the past by going back to that incidence. Even though it is very disturbing, it helps because unknowingly we might have kept it away, and that actually is continuing to become a disturbance. So you reclaim it. so that you bring into your conscious level, but develop certain strategies and try to overcome that. Give forgiveness. Determined to recover. Learn self-acceptance. All these are part of it. Counseling the Gen Z, the latest generation. Many times we wonder, is it that we are witnessing a no-feel generation? They don't care their parents struggle. They don't care what Bible speak. They don't care what church members think. They are no-feel generation. They have a confused ethics because, first of all, they find people who are preaching something and practicing the just opposite. Or some of their heroes go so weird. So they actually struggle with the question of what is accepted, what is not accepted. Yeah, identity problem, love affair problem, parenting problem, relationship problem, sexual abuse, social media, all these are issues faced by young people. Some young people, children and all, give some warning signals at home that indicates that it's high time to think of a counseling. These are the symptoms: persistent sadness, withdrawal from friends, sudden drop in academics, negative statement about life, recurring thoughts of death, avoiding social occasions, images of fear. All those are warning signals for counselors. Now try to focus on feelings.
Sir, slowly little.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, warning signals are like persistent sadness, means the sadness that goes beyond time. Withdrawal from friends, a person who was so happy and mingling with everybody all in a sudden stopped it. Sudden drop in academics, a person who was studying very well loses the academics all in a sudden, is a warning signal. Negative statements about life, recurring thoughts of death, avoiding social occasion, means these people, they don't want to go for any occasion. These all are signals that they give. Continuously, if there are images of fear, like I see bad dreams in which somebody comes to kill me, all those are warning signals. So these are the things we can try in doing counseling. Try to focus on feelings. When we are good counselors, we listen to the feelings. Next is try not to jump to assumptions. Instead of assumptions, it is better that we listen properly and come up to conclusions instead of jumping with assumptions. Dynamics of the situation means who else have influenced this decision? Is there anything from behind pulling the situation back? So what are the dynamics of that issue? Yeah, that is what this point is. Try to clarify how does it affect them. That is next. Any problem with which anybody comes, you ask them, how does it affect? And we never make them feel belittled. We never make fun of them also. And we maintain our patience and agape love just like Jesus, who maintained agape love when a person caught in sin was brought before him. Never compare them with each other, etc. All those are elements that should be kept in our mind in our process of becoming effective leaders. Older people. These are some of the problems. Generation gap, health problem. Generation gap means the older generation, they don't actually get along with many occasions. They don't get along with the younger one because their worldview, perspective, all those are different from the new generation. Health problem, family problems, psychological problems, ill-treating by family members, sense of no significance, all this you will find. When somebody finds there is no significance to exist, it's a very serious thing. Yeah, so that's all we have concerning counseling. And now time for questions, discussions. I think we have started looking at this subject very early because we had some gap in between. Like our subject started on September 23rd. But I took leave in between here and there, travel and everything. So we have completed what we wanted to discuss, and then counseling skill is what I wanted to tell you. And then if you have any questions, you can ask. We also use spiritual resources. I hope we might have discussed that also. Spiritual resources such as prayer, Bible, worship, books, literature that is published, some videos, some movies. I said movies because I came across some very good Christian movies recently. English, actually. Like you may know some of it. Fireproof is a Christian movie that can be recommended to families that are struggling with family problems. It's a great guidance. War Room is another Christian movie you can give to wives undergoing family stress. It will greatly guide them and help them in that. Flywheel is a Christian movie that we can give to people who are struggling on their spiritual growth and they find very difficult to give to the Lord, tithe and everything. If they watch that movie, that will transform them. So there are, whatever is, like I have given Fireproof to a family to watch and come back for next session. Because the wife was finding it so hard to forgive the husband. But Fireproof is a movie that depicts how a wife was able to exercise forgiveness and how she made her room a prayer room, in other words, a war room. And how that began to affect her husband and how husband came back to the Lord and how it all resolved. And then we have spiritual literature such as there is a book in Malayalam and English. The name of the book is Joni. She is a bedridden, paralyzed person. How she found her meaning, how she found her meaning of existence, and how spirituality helps her. Very good guidance. And prayer, rightly worded prayer, will bring in healing. Even the Lord's Supper that we administer has a great emotional healing power, because see, in the old times, the New Testament church, in the same church you have masters and the slaves. Both eat from the same table. So look at the feeling of the masters while eating with the slaves. They will start respecting the slaves as Christian brothers. Look at the slave when he is eating with the master, how great the feeling of assurance is. That was a great healing agent at that point of time. So these are some of the spiritual things we can keep in mind, and that might be helpful to use in our Christian ministry, especially when we sit for counseling. And then we might have mentioned earlier, there is a difference between secular counseling and Christian counseling. In Christian counseling, we have ministry identity, we have Christian perspective, and the ethical standards that we maintain in Christian counseling is very different. And it is like the ultimate aim is to transform an individual in Christian counseling, etc. So as Christian counselors, we need to maintain our identity. Any questions or anything to discuss or say?
I'm so sorry to interrupt the mood of the class. Is there any assignment?
Oh, thank you for reminding that. Yeah, it's good that I explain rather than putting in the group, no? So there is an assignment. The assignment is you can write on one major problem you have sensed in your church context that requires a counseling intervention. It could be family problem related to children or youth or whatever. One problem that you have observed, a latest problem that you have observed. But when you write it, focus on why this problem happens. 3 aspects, okay? Number 1, why is it happening? Like if you are writing on divorce, why is it happening? Secondly, because this happens, how does it affect people? And number 3, how can we solve this issue? A problem, why this problem, how does it impact, and lastly, what are the solutions according to your thoughts? All right. Hope it is clear. Thank you. If there is no more questions, I will go ahead and pray and close our class. So let me pray. Heavenly Father, we come before you, Lord, in this evening time. Thank you for helping us to gather all through the previous classes and learn the subject of pastoral counseling, Christian counseling. We thank you for helping us to go through many of the aspects that we need to be clear about. And each one of these participants, I pray that you'll bless them. And Lord, in the